This is a version of me you will never see again. Not that I won't ever again walk the streets at night alone, or ever stop letting the words flow out of my brain, but the version of me will be different tomorrow. I will have sloughed off some of my dead skin cells, my brain will have pruned some old connections, maybe I won't be so tired. Or maybe I'll be even more tired. Or maybe I'll just be really excited to get going with my day. But regardless, I won't be the same. I will be a new ship in a port, waiting to head out to new seas and new waters. I'll be sailing against the wind and into storms. I'll be reading old charts and maps that people drew sea monsters on when they didn't know how to explain something. I'll give it my all, and maybe even more so. And after that, I'll come back home, sail right into port, and do it again the next day. But it makes me wonder, just a little bit, about how stars show light for years after they're gone. And if we were to trace some lights back to their source, we'd find that they're nothing like they were before. I think memory can be sort of like that we highlight on all the really good parts, and even maybe some of the bad ones. And we try to savor those, but when we go back, things weren't exactly like we remembered. Maybe the big monster wasn't as big or as terrifying as we imagined, and maybe the person we fell in love with wasn't perfect after all, but what they were was a reminder of who we used to be, what we used to be scared of, how we used to treat ourselves, the kind of dreams we used to have, and a gentle nudge to our current reality and possible futures down the line. I think worries are natural, and getting carried away is something I tend to do a little too often, but sometimes it feels nice to just exist in this moment, to move as the world would. Take me around the sun one more time. We all spinning in the endless cosmos together. It seems appropriate to peer into the abyss every now and then and give it a little nod to the eternity of it all. Sometimes I think about darkness, not just in the literal sense of the word, but the darkness that exists in all of us, how it could push us down, but also sometimes it could press us forward. How do we ask from darkness what we desire? How do we keep trudging through the dreary, awful, murky, unclear swamp of misunderstanding and hurt, pain, and trauma caused intentionally or accidentally passed on through generations, saying, "This is how it's always been, and this is how it should be"? I swear it's untrue. I promise you that it will not always be like this. I promise you the hurt will go away eventually and possibly be replaced by something better or possibly worse. But I promise you it will be entirely different. And so maybe let's sit indifferent for a while, moving through the changes like leaves on a tree, appearing static, but eventually changing color, falling to the ground, and swirling in the small gusts of wind that echo through the neighborhood. I could still hear ghosts vibrating frequencies in the air of how things used to be. The small roots bursting through the sidewalk, the flies buzzing, having survived so many generations in this amount of time. It's incredible to think about how much has come before me, before I even breathed in my first sigh of air, crying and weeping into this world. Not knowing what was to become of me, but knowing I wanted to breathe, and I've been doing so ever since. The night has always been my main source of inspiration. It quietly sits in the corner reading a book while I let my words out. It occasionally comes over to see how I'm doing and smiles and says, "Ooh, I like that," or "Try this." I never get mad because the night has been around forever and knows what sounds good. And also, I like how the night sounds, so I appreciate the input. But sometimes the night gets too quiet. and I can't seem to find it anywhere. It doesn't go back to its spot in the corner. It goes out and doesn't come back until late. So I find myself waiting alone in my bed, hoping it comes back, but unable to write anything. And I don't look forward to those nights at all. But I have to make it through those some nights, because those are the times I'm reminded of my humanity, my mortality, my heartbreak. That things won't always go my way, that my expectations won't always be met, that eventually the sun is going to set, and eventually the night will go away. I've been spinning on this planet for a while now, and I've learned that it's best to keep an open mind and try to do our best to interpret our reality for others, because even with all the words and all the music I could ever muster in my life, I don't think I could fully convey how much I love this world. I love it with all my being. I've had such wonderful experiences being here, dreaming on this little rock, meeting new people, and learning to love the people I already knew. It is without a doubt my favorite type of existence thus far. And you know, being alone has taught me something too. Despite being social creatures, the quiet really brings out so many feelings I could never possibly express, and all the ugliness and beauty that exists in my brain pours out. I feel so full. So here's to the night. Here's to quiet walks and the street crunching underneath my feet. Here's to cars driving home. Here's to loves and smiles. Here's to forgiving the hurt and pain. Here's to moving forward. Here's to healing. Here's to recognizing the things in our life that don't serve us. Here's to recognizing the things in our life that do. Here's to taking breaths and slowing down, because the world can be too fast, or sometimes it could be too much. But here's to the night for giving us the opportunity to stop and process and change.